Welcome to the Ridgecrest Lost and Found podcast. In the same way that you have like one left shoelace, in the same way that you actually know the difference between a left shoelace and a right shoelace, all kinds of random things that we have in like a church lost and found. That's what this show is about. My name is Logan.
I'm Stephen.
And today we have another expert. We are bringing you can either be it's either like a church member profile or an expert. Which would you rather be?
Pass.
We've
do
got
expert.
Okay,
Sure.
perfect. If you see the title of the video, you'll know what we're talking about. That Ryan's an expert in. It's going to be a good show. This is Ryan Wallace.
Hello.
How's it feel to be here? To be in the chair?
It feels great.
We were just talking about how, I'm already slouching.
Yeah, it's okay.
It literally took 35 seconds.
We did the vote for solo episodes if I should be over there or over here.
How did that go?
Split down the middle. One person voted for each option.
Interesting.
But I think I prefer being over here because I don't like the whole thing with your whole posture is just exposed, and over here I'm just kind of torso up, and I feel safer for some reason.
Yeah.
I prefer this.
You just said my posture is exposed, and it now makes me very insecure about what I'm showing to everybody.
We can start this thing over. Forget
Can we just put like a curtain in front of me? That'd be great.
I'll put it in post.
We're now going to audio only because I feel exposed.
Instead of a lower third, I'll do a lower half, and it'll just be a curtain that comes up rather than down.
Can you just get my shoes in the shot?
Just your shoes in the shot?
Yes. And the socks too,
I will
please.
cut. I will get a picture of your shoes, blow it up,
Nothing
and just
above the
make you
calf.
a sitting shoe.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Somehow cover my lower thirds and then only show his lower third.
Yes.
You're going to have to explain everything you just said again.
Lower third is like a
Don't
photography
you dare.
ratio.
Oh, man. It's like I knew that was coming, but I couldn't stop him. Sorry.
So,
It's fine. I
Ryan,
walked into
give
it.
us anywhere from a 30-second to a 30-hour backstory on who you are,
Okay.
and then we'll just kind of get into it.
Yeah. So, my name is Ryan.
Oh, good.
I go to church here.
What's your middle name?
That's classified.
Okay, got it.
Two words for a middle name. That's
I know
pretty
it's
cool.
strange, but
Ryan, that's classified.
it answers a lot of questions. So we've been going here since 2013. So carry the one, 10 years.
He actually did have to carry the one.
I did have to. I have 3 kids: Liam, Chloe, and Merrick. 6, 4, and 1. So it's a jungle at my house.
It's a fun time.
Mhm.
You don't have comatose children. They are very much.
No, they're very much awake.
Yes.
I think they actually have shifts where they like swap off with the other one. Like, okay, it's 2 a.m. Come on.
Do you think it's
Merrick.
like a boss baby kind of situation to where they have secret meetings where they're like
probably
building a
is.
schedule?
I would hope that it is, just for my retirement benefit.
Yes, they're already working on it.
Yep.
See, you're a step ahead of me. I feel like I'm starting to feel that with the 2-kid life. How they're starting to kind of work together a little bit, and they're feeding off each other.
Yes. Yep.
3 kids though it's a team effort.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
They're figuring it out. They're starting to bring Merrick into the fold. They're
That's
like,
right.
let's on ramp, let's get initiated, and then you can go full board.
Absolutely. Yep. Open every drawer. Merrick, here's how you open drawers. You pull everything out of the drawer. Don't leave anything in the drawer. So, yeah, we're there.
Y'all have a standard of excellence of childhood behavior at your house. We're taking everything out. We don't leave anything.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Cannon's in a phase right now where everything he does is full speed. So, like, he'll run to the kitchen and he'll pull something off the counter, and then he'll run to the table and he'll throw it on the table.
Sprints.
And then he goes on top of the couch and does this and jumps.
Yeah.
And then when you take him off, then it's just everything is just always just.
They call those suicides, I think, in sport training. Right? I don't know anything about sports.
Like the drill where you have to do like the laps and the jumping jacks and
Absolutely.
Straight and back.
Absolutely.
Maybe we should have had you on for our next sports episode.
we can't do another
I
sports
don't know
episode.
anything about sports. Sorry. That's the only term I know in sports. All of sports.
You would be the second fan of sports ball, like Stephen is.
Yeah, sports ball. I
heard
call
that.
every sport with the ball is
Do you
sports
watch
ball.
it often? Or?
No.
Okay.
No. More of a player of
So
sports
you're
ball than
a big fan.
a big fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a good time. So we're gonna pencil Ryan in for
Please do.
secondary expert of sports
Excellent.
for our second sports
Optional
episode.
attendee. Okay.
So the reason why I thought you would be a good addition, I almost said employee. That was not.
Well,
that was
This is an interview.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, don't tell your current employer.
My greatest weakness is I work too hard. So.
I thought it would be fun because you and me have had multiple conversations about game nights, about board games, about whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
And Steven is also a player of the games,
Yes.
the game of the boards.
He doth play.
Play many games.
Yes.
Doth playeth.
Yes.
So kind of what I was thinking is, you have your icebreaker.
Do we want the icebreaker?
Can we bring the ice in the middle here so
That
we
would
can all
be
break it
helpful.
together?
Well, I was just going to kind of say, like, there's a new game that's we're teasing right here, Easter egging.
It's imminent, so I would say it's it's probably more of a tease or.
It's like the second return.
Yeah, I like that. So
Second return.
we're gonna talk about our.
Just edit that part out.
I don't edit.
We're
these.
gonna do some version of favorite board games. We're either gonna say top 3. We're gonna do a draft where we decide the best. We could do a tier. We haven't done a tier list yet.
That's because we haven't gotten to the point where we can
tough.
like we need to alter the set somehow to do a tier list because it's either we have some kind of screen over there.
Yeah, because you got to have the line, the rows.
Yeah,
He's got to alter the deal, and then you've got to pray that he doesn't alter it further.
That is. I
What
understood that reference. Did you get that reference?
Not a single bit.
That's okay.
I wasn't a Christian until I was in my teenage years.
Well, it's a Star Wars quote.
Wow.
So
know nothing about Star Wars at all.
They have war in space.
and
the
stars are in space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why do you think he picked Star Wars and not Space Wars?
That's a great question.
That is a good question. It does seem like that was probably on the table at one point.
I admit
Space
that Star
Wars.
Wars sounds way cooler, so
It
I
does.
understand why they picked it. But I do wonder if that was
Honestly, Space Wars was probably already a trademark.
that was probably a
Yeah.
C-level
Sorry, this
movie
domain
in the
is registered.
70s. You know what we could do is just like cardboard kindergarten cutout like SABCD and just use the shiplap.
Yeah.
And then we use felt, like a felt board.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
I think we're on to something here.
Okay.
As
So
long as I don't have to edit anything post, yeah, I'm good with it.
Instead of using technology or like
Honestly,
pretty basic things.
that would be preferable because if we do a TV of some kind, I'm probably having to do that over here as well.
Okay.
And I'm already pulling double.
I don't know if I would do a TV on set. I think I would rather it be like either a picture-in-picture or like a third shot.
I agree.
Okay.
I like that.
So we're not doing a tier list. I know that
Good.
upsets you.
I wasn't prepared for that anyway, so that's great.
good.
I know you're only S tier. Everything you do is only top.
Okay.
So we'll do something.
That's his middle name is S tier.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
It's
My
pretty
second
good.
Middle name.
Yeah.
After.
That's classified S tier.
Yes.
maybe that. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I didn't tell you my entire middle name because it was classified.
Did y'all?
Is there still more?
There's a chance this
Podcast
turns.
isn't over, so
We just got plenty of
we
time.
have time.
There's a chance this turns really racist. I'm gonna try to let it not be that.
I might edit this.
Have
All right,
you
here it goes.
have you met like a Hispanic person that has like that actually uses like their super long family names where there's like 6 names in it?
Mm-mm.
No.
Some, I think.
I'm familiar with like when that happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
I knew someone that had, I think it was like 4 names. So it was basically like 2 middle names.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if y'all knew anyone that actually.
I'm aware that's a thing, but
Went
I've
by
never
that.
like personally met anybody with
The
like.
fact that you know that exists makes me not seem as racist for bringing it up. So I'm happy to hear
okay.
that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's racist. I would say that's a genuine thing that happens in their
But
culture.
if it was made up and I
Yeah.
just assumed that like, oh, there's this group of people that
Then you would be
like
canceled.
like you had this
Absolutely.
moment where you were like, oh shoot, did I just do a racism?
yes, and you saved me
Yeah,
from
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Thank you. That's
Exactly.
what.
Unless if we're both accidentally racist.
But then I put all that on you, and then I'm okay.
That's true. Then
gonna- I'm
YouTube
gonna-
will remove the audio
Yeah.
portion of that. Okay.
I'm gonna stop
So-
talking because I'm gonna have to edit this if I keep talking.
No, we're not. We don't edit anything. So we're gonna do that. The either draft or our favorites or whatever, and then there's this new game that we're gonna talk about that I want to play that I think will be really fun. Now would be the time to hit us with a question.
Okay.
Otherwise, I have one for Ryan.
Okay. I have a question about your mustache.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, here we go.
I feel like there's a story behind it. Or like at one
Okay.
point you decided, I'm gonna have the most glorious mustache
Wow.
of all time.
Okay.
I just want to know, like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so
it's like a part of your brand.
it all started when I was 2. No, so I went through midlife crisis.
Quarter life crisis.
Quarter life crisis. I can get behind that branding. So I decided that I wanted to do some type of facial hair at some point. Of course, my wife, like most wives are, when you decide this, was completely behind it.
Adamantly against it.
Absolutely. And I started to grow a beard, and I think I kind of, was giving off some like homeless vibes at work on Zoom and Teams, and / like people were, questioning whether, I was old enough to drive by myself. And so I just decided like I needed to cut my losses, and I was like, well, the mustache seems to be going pretty well.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just let it continue and see where it goes.
And you went for the more distinguished look.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess there's arguably, some people would disagree that a mustache is more distinguished than a beard.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Some people don't have taste.
I was about to say they would be wrong.
Yeah, that's fine. But I can't do I don't have those genes.
Yeah.
So all the gene for the facial hair like compressed into this portion of my face.
I feel like that's usually how it goes, though, like you saying that mustache is distinguished or not. I feel like it's either you're forcing it on yourself, or it's the only facial hair you can grow, and like all of that energy is here, and those are the people that can really make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've seen the people where they have like a goatee, but it's because they only grow a goatee, and so really they're just unshaven.
Yeah.
Which I'm great with. I just think it's interesting how some people have the full connections and everything, and then some people it's like I'm supposed to have a goatee, or I'm supposed to have like a mustache and a soul patch or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I did have a soul patch at one point.
Classic.
Would you consider that
was
a dark time in your life?
It was a very dark time for the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was for everyone else. He was
I loved
exuding
it.
the soul patch.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I ran
none of that was affecting him. It was all outwards.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I know a guy who's a good friend of mine. I don't know how old he is. He's older than us. But he just decided that he was going to go like goatee, and then just kept going. And now he like battle braids his goatee.
Yes.
And it's legit. Like the braid goes down to like his sternum. Wow. I mean, it's majestic.
That is majestic.
Because he just, and at no point was he like, I'm going to go full beard and then grow it all. He said, I'm going to stick with the goatee, but I'm going to go full braided goatee.
Valhalla. For sure.
And he rocks it.
Yeah, that's great.
He rocks
I respect those people a lot.
Me too.
Because once my beard gets like even like an inch thick, I can barely breathe. I can't do it. I have to keep it trim. I can't.
So you have like a limit to the length. And you're like...
I have a point to where I know, because like my facial hair just kind of, I don't have any of that. It goes to certain segments of my face. It's everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I have a certain point to where I look in the mirror and I'm like,
it's time.
It's time. My face is starting to disappear. It's time to clean that up a little bit.
Is that an Italian thing? Do Italians have big beards?
I don't know.
Maybe it's just a Steven thing.
Maybe it is.
Do you know that Steven's like, what are you?
1/4 Italian.
1/4? Yeah.
My dad's mom was native to Italy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Ask her. Or ask your dad. Say, hey, do Italians have really full, thick beards?
Oh, it's Google. Google will probably.
Yeah, be better. And they won't make fun of you for asking dumb questions.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But you've kind of like, you've owned the mustache. I mean, it's on your avatar profile.
It is on my avatar
or whatever you would call that. Will there be a day where we modify? Maybe we do something else. Maybe you go like Zorro, like super thin, just like right on.
Yeah, I don't know about the pencil. I don't think I could do the pencil. I have at times. This may get really personal.
We're prepared.
Are you? Okay.
I'm prepared.
He's touching the edit button right now.
Yeah.
He's like, stop recording, please. Yeah, so one side of my mustache actually grows at a faster rate than the other.
Like
and
it's noticeable.
it's noticeable, at least to me.
Yeah.
I noticed it one day on Zoom. I was just like, "What's going on here? You know, is this like
Did
a
you
filter?"
just keep thinking you were
Yeah.
lopsided?
Yeah.
You were walking,
So-
you started leaning, and you were like, "What's going
Yeah,
on?"
so I
here?
did actually like, I just used scissors and just like
Uh-huh.
trimmed off a little bit, and then I was like, well, now this side is, and so I actually trimmed it down quite a bit. This has probably been like a month ago. And,
This is I'm going to ask a stupid question or a neophyte question.
Can you use that in a sentence or a question? Okay.
What makes someone a neophyte?
Yes.
That's the question.
Okay. Perfect.
I know that most people, it grows kind of out this way.
Out this way. Yes.
So the directly under the nose hairs, the Hitler section, does
The
that just continue?
Let's call that something else. Let's call it the chaplain section.
Yeah. I
There
like
you
that
go.
term better.
Does that part just continually
Interestingly,
grow
he did
down?
play that character, so
Did he really?
he did.
Interesting.
You
That makes
played
sense.
Hitler?
Pretty sure.
That's awesome.
The Great Dictator? No. It's one of his
I don't
famous
know
works.
a lot of Chaplin stuff.
Oh my gosh. You said Chaplin, and I just assumed that.
Well, he said Chaplin.
I said Chaplin.
I said
He said
Hitler.
Chaplin.
I know all about
I also
Hitler.
know nothing about
This is
chaplain.
like the 20th time you said Hitler. So I'm getting concerned now. All right.
Does the Chaplin section continually
is.
grow down, or does it reach like an apex length and just stop?
I think it's apex. I don't think it continues
Yeah.
past. I mean, maybe given enough time.
Yeah, because I'm thinking
Um,
like that would be interesting if just eventually it's more like you're just a curtain right
Yeah.
here. But
Yeah, my understanding is like the Swanson, as it's affectionately called,
yes.
isn't really possible. But
Okay.
I have met one person. Actually, met him in a bike shop in
makes
Gluckstadt.
sense.
Exactly. What does that mean? Anyway,
Anyway,
Was it a bicycle shop or a motorcycle shop?
it was a bicycle shop.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Think Queen. So he had this like huge, like very. It was like almost Swanson level volume
wow.
handlebar mustache.
Oh, he went. So he had the volume, but then he went
That was
handlebar.
huge. Yeah, he had length and volume. So
I saw it. I was gonna say it that I've seen one that was bigger than yours,
yeah.
as in like it
Is it
had-
okay to cry on the
Yeah,
recording?
it'd be fine. We were at Aplos in Jackson, which is another place where
I
if
could
you're
see
going to
that
see
happening.
someone with a majestic
For
mustache,
sure, it's going to be in that village.
and it was full curly, so he was, waxing and
So
everything,
you had the wax.
but
going
it
on.
looked like a small weasel was on his face. I mean, it was just so much on that upper lip.
right.
I was like, that's like you spend a lot of time on that. Like he's worked, he saved up his money,
Oh,
and he figured it out.
yeah. Yeah, you can send your kids to college or grow it out.
Yeah.
Super long. So
Some things you just have to make. You have to make the right choices for.
yeah, the choice is pretty clear. So
How long has it been? You shaved your mustache a couple years ago, didn't you?
okay, yes, I did. That
I-
actually happened. I had a good friend I grew up with. He had a wedding, and I was
And he
one
was
of the
like,
groomsmen.
no stashes.
He actually didn't say anything
Okay.
about it, but I just was very self-conscious about it at the time. I hadn't fully embraced it as a lifestyle, and so I shaved it off.
You're not just always full beard, right? You'll shave it at some point, won't you?
I will never shave this
Oh,
completely again. Last
Okay.
time I did, I think, was in 2016, 2017.
okay.
When
So I've never seen you since working here without some
probably.
kind of.
Correct. Last time I did, I was still working at the TV station, and I was at the news desk because we were talking through the morning, and the guy who does some sports, he does some on-site reports.
The news.
He had to double take, and he was like, "I thought you were 12. I thought we let a kid in here."
He just roasted you.
Yeah,
Right off the
but it was
bat.
rightfully so. I do have a bit of baby face underneath all of this wonderful
I wouldn't
beard.
know.
Yeah,
There
We'll
was a-
never know.
I never will.
There was a guy in college who had full mountain man beard. He was probably 20, 21, but he just had a massive beard.
Yeah, yeah.
And for like a fundraiser, it was his senior year, fourth year of college. He decided to shave it. And when I say like he walked in, I didn't know who he was, and he was like, "Hey, Logan," and I was like, "It's nice to meet you." And he was like, "Hey, that's actually blah blah blah." And I was like,
Wow.
because I mean, he had like full everything, and it went down. Had a good mustache part of it. Like, it covered half his face.
Yeah.
And so when he shaved it and I saw the other half of his face, I was like, this is
It's a different person.
Yeah.
Genetically, something has changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It'd be like that.
Before we get into the game thing, one part of board gaming that I think is very important to establish on the front end, and we've talked about this some, is the level of competitiveness that is expected from the group.
Yeah.
So we'll start with you, Stephen. I know it changes depending on the audience, who you're playing against, and all that stuff. But just generally speaking, how would you rate your competitiveness in board gaming?
What's the scale?
I'll go 1 to 10, but you can add any caveat that you would like.
2.
Really?
Yes.
You don't care.
I'm not a competitive person, and as you will hear from my board game choices, I do not like competitive games in general. I'm more of a co-op, let's work together to solve a problem kind of thing.
So interesting.
Yeah. I am the kind of person that...
That's a great name for a gaming channel. Have you ever considered
What I said a lot.
implementing co-op into one of your...
Like just the
Implementing
word,
co-op.
Yeah, sure.
Implementing co-op or just co-op?
Yeah, just having a co-op type of theme YouTube channel.
There's something in there.
Okay.
Cooperative co-op.
There's something you could do with that probably. But anyway,
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect a 2. I didn't expect you to say like 10 by any means. I don't know if I expected a 2.
I'm the kind of person that when I am forced to, this tells you how much I like competitive games. When I'm forced to play a competitive game, I try to have fun with it. The first time I played Catan, and I hate Catan because of this experience.
It's a terrible game.
Ooh.
My man.
We should talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that's a controversial take. I feel like
There are people who are about it.
yeah. But my first time I played, they did not explain the rules to me properly.
Oh,
So
boy.
I just made my goal to make the longest bridge. But they did not tell me that it had to connect. So I just had a really long stretch of bridge and got 0 points awarded for it. But it was a good time.
Yeah. That makes you want to play a game more, too.
Oh, yeah.
Put a lot of effort in something and get 0 reward for it, for sure.
And nobody was like, we should probably let him know this is happening.
No, of course not, because then I was a liability on the field. I was
Exactly.
just, But
That's
no.
how I think is more of a competitive person.
Exactly.
And
it
don't get me
sounds like
wrong,
you were
I'm-
playing with competitive people.
I mean, people who play Catan play to win. It's not a fun
Yeah,
game.
aren't you literally trying to take over the world?
Yeah,
or the country
something
or
like
something?
that. Trying to, I don't know, make sheep or something.
It's
trying to
capitalism.
Yeah.
in the
You're
board
trying to
games.
settle Catan.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like there are some games, like especially strategy games, card games that are competitive that I'll play them. Magic the Gathering, I used to play some Magic the Gathering.
It's a great game.
It's a great game.
And that's not competitive? Never played it.
No, it is competitive.
It's very
okay.
competitive.
But I've played it and I enjoy it, but I have fun with it. But I'm not a competitive person by nature. I just enjoy the game.
Good. Ryan,
Yes.
what is your rating? Rating? Whatever.
Rating.
Scale.
How competitive are you in board gaming?
I would say probably 3. Maybe a 2.
Okay.
It kind of depends on the day and the game. If it's a game that no. In board games, not competitive at all. Online games,
That's a whole different story.
that's a different rating.
You're there
scale.
to destroy people.
I feel like
right.
it also depends on the opponents.
It
like
does.
like if I am playing a game that I'm capable at and I want to teach someone a lesson that needs to be humbled,
Yes.
there may be some competitive energy that shows up there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're going down the chute and they're never climbing a ladder.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Correct.
Well, I don't know how I feel about it. One, as we'll get into, I don't play a lot of board games at all. Like, at our house, we have Scrabble
Okay.
and Monopoly.
Those are board games.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But we never play it. We started
Oh, you
playing.
don't play them. Okay.
Every household has to have a copy of Monopoly.
We
it's
have
a rule.
Monopoly, and we played it once.
It's
and
on your loan paperwork.
It is.
Yeah. And our
After you
marriage-
sign the papers, they give you the
Right.
box of Monopoly.
Our marriage
Welcome.
almost ended when we played Monopoly. So we don't play Monopoly anymore.
Yeah.
And we played Scrabble for a while. Why did I buy Scrabble? I bought Scrabble because I heard it was like I heard about a couple that
You
was
heard
like,
a word like neophyte, and you were
and I
like,
was
if
like,
I can
we're-
only use that.
we're getting all the triple word scores. They were talking about, like, I think it was a marriage thing, and they were like, find time to do something. Like, me and my wife play Scrabble every night. And I was like, that sounds awesome. And
Yeah.
it got old.
Scrabble.
It got old real fast. Mainly because Megan is not really competitive with board games,
Okay.
and I can be competitive, as we're about to get into, and so that just kind of gets weird with stuff like that.
Yeah, so we haven't heard your rating yet.
I know. I was giving the biggest intro to it.
Nice prelude.
I would probably say, when I do ratings of 1 out of 10 as a personal rule, I don't say 7 because I always want to say 7.
That's Jesus's number.
Yes.
That's a good call.
I would probably say 6 with the caveat of I can flip the switch on and off. So like if we were playing a game,
To like an 11 or
yeah,
okay.
I can crank it.
You're like,
But if I was playing with you guys and I was like, and we just understood that like we're just having fun.
Steven and Ryan aren't competitive by nature.
I can turn that off. I'm not gonna just be like, I'm gonna destroy you. But if we were playing like 2 people that are competitive and they're like, I'm here to win, it's like, okay, well then I'm gonna go as hard as I can at this game,
Right.
and get really frustrated, especially if I don't know the rules, because that's a big issue for me. Since I've never played I've never played board games really. Most board games that I play are me doing it for the first or second time, and so
Gotcha.
that's always fun.
Okay.
It's kind of like poker, getting someone to teach you poker because you're relying on your competitor to teach you how to beat them in something.
Right.
And it's just weird how that never happens.
Yeah.
There's going to be some withholding there.
Yes.
For
or
sure.
in Catan when they tell you the rules and they don't tell you that bridges have to connect.
Yeah. I've played Catan like twice, and both times it was kind of like, all right, here's the rules, blah, 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 you did it, and it's like, all right, here you go, and you're like, what are we doing?
There's nothing
Yeah.
that makes a Catan player happier than playing with someone that's never played Catan.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's like their
It's a
birthday.
guaranteed
Like,
good time. That's right. For them.
Yeah, because they just turn into a dictator.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
didn't say it this time.
No, you didn't.
I used his
Good
title.
job.
very good.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah, sure.
Let's get into it. What do we want to do? Do we just want to do like top 3 favorites, and if they match, they match, or do we want to do a draft where I can steal your favorite game?
Well, considering I don't think my 3 are going to be mentioned by either of you, I would be surprised if you mentioned any of the ones that Ryan. Like, I don't feel like a draft would really cancel
No.
anybody out.
Okay, let's do favorites.
Yeah, let's just do favorites.
That'll be easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really excited about y'all. I'm gonna have to take time to make up stuff as we go. So Ryan, the way that we do it is the guest always goes first.
Okay.
So
Got it.
we'll do draft rules, but it'll just be pick your favorite. And then me and Steven will rock paper scissors to see who goes second or third.
Okay.
The catch is, instead of going rock paper scissors shoot, you go rock paper scissors and then you say what you're gonna do for the audio listeners. So if I was gonna do rock, I'd say rock paper scissors rock, etc.
Okay.
Best 2 out of 3. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Are we going to tell each other what we're doing like we did that other time?
I'll throw scissors.
You're going to throw actual scissors?
I do have scissors on this desk.
Okay,
so.
please don't.
Okay, I'll throw rock.
I'll throw paper.
Okay.
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 Rock,
Wait.
Oh.
What did I say? I said rock. Okay, I'm ready.
Yes.
rock, paper, scissors, rock.
Paper.
Was I the only one who didn't lie?
Yes.
Okay, sweet.
Wow.
All right, Ryan's in the lead.
Okay.
Even though Ryan's going first automatically.
Absolutely.
Ryan gets to pick.
I'm double fast now. Let's go.
All right, I'm picking paper.
I'm picking. I'm going to do rock.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay.
I'll go scissors.
Okay.
What did I say? I said paper.
Paper. You said paper.
I don't know why I can't remember it.
Okay.
Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors,
rock.
scissors.
Yes!
Man,
Pretty good.
that
All
was
right.
brutal. I did change.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
Sorry.
I've beat you
You
once.
beat me once, Ryan's. I'm the only one that's lost.
Okay,
ever.
so now you and me,
Yeah.
best 2 out of 3.
Okay.
With me having 1, you having 0.
Correct.
We'll
yes.
just go sudden death. No,
Sure.
no saying what it is. Let's just roll
Okay,
through
sure,
this.
okay. Rock, paper, scissors, rock.
All right, sudden death. Here we go.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, rock. Rock, paper, scissors, paper.
You didn't say anything. What
Rock,
happened?
and I lost.
Oh, man.
I'm 0 for 2 on this.
Okay.
Steven's crushing me.
Yeah.
You've beat me once. This is our third time doing this.
He has a timeshare inside my mind right now. All right, so Ryan's going first. Do you want to go second? Because last time you deferred.
I'll go second.
Okay, good. That gives me more time to think
Yeah.
about what mine is.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
All right, and so for board games, this is what I was gonna not enunciate. I was gonna elaborate.
Okay.
We need to define
You
what
can
a board game
enunciate
is.
too.
We need to figure out.
That's better.
Are we doing strictly board games, as in like there's a piece of cardboard with playing pieces, or just games that families play physically together?
Any kind of like tabletop game that has some form of pieces, whether it's cards or
Yes, I
pieces
agree
or
with that.
rolls.
I include card games.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm great with that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Magic the Gathering included.
Yes, board
Dungeon
game.
and Dragons included.
Yes.
Board game.
I don't want to say anymore because I don't want to take y'all to take mine.
Okay.
All right. Hit us with your first favorite or your first pick. Whatever.
One of my favorite games. I'm gonna say Dice Throne.
Okay.
I knew you were a Dice Throne guy. I thought I remembered that
y'all
about
need
you.
to have awareness that probably every game that you say you're gonna have to explain to me what it is.
Yeah, sure. So Dice. I wrote a brief description of each of the games, so I'm ready, prepared. Please correct me if I'm speaking incorrectly.
Turns
about
out
Dice
I've
Throne,
never
Steven.
played Dice Throne.
So
I'm just
Dice
familiar with
Throne.
it.
Okay, great. So
Yeah.
I have all the facts.
Yeah.
Dice Throne is a dice and card game. It's a PvP, so it's player versus player. You can play up to
As opposed to what?
PvE.
PvE, so
What is the
player
E stand?
versus environment.
Usually the E stands for environment.
Yeah,
That would be like
that's like
your
a dungeon crawl or something where
Gotcha.
you're fighting against a enemy or
Gotcha.
something.
Please
That's not a
continue.
player. So it has unique characters. Sort of its deal is every character. There's different characters in each of the seasons that have been released, but one may be.
How many seasons?
Great question. There's 2 seasons so far, but there have been expansions. The most recent one, I believe, is Marvel, and so there's an actual Marvel Dice Throne.
There we go.
They did do a co-op version, didn't they? Recently?
Yes, they did.
Okay, I want to hear about that.
Dice Throne Adventures.
Yes, I was curious about
too.
that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's Dice Throne itself. The goal of the game is to just play against each other, getting the opponent's health down to 0 through attacks and defenses.
So this is a competitive game.
It's a competitive game.
Okay.
So the thing that makes Dice Throne fun is that each character has their own attack.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a board of your character's attacks. Most of the characters also have their own special cards.
Mm-hmm.
Although you can see a theme of like what type of cards you can play. And so that creates a dynamic,
Yeah.
right? So I can choose, it's very modular. So I can choose, say, Barbarian. And Ellen, my wife, should choose like another character.
Like a gunslinger.
Gunslinger,
Yeah.
right. So that's going to be a different game than if we had picked different characters.
Right.
And so it's made around that is sort of the premise. And so
How much strategy is involved?
not as much as you would anticipate
Yeah.
a game like that because there's dice, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
that's
that
where
makes
you get
sense.
into the luck part. There's a move order, sort of action order, sort of like Magic the Gathering, where
Mhm.
you have upkeep and stuff like that. You have those same phases in Dice Throne, except on your attack phase, you roll 3. You can roll up to 3 times.
Mhm.
You can re-roll any of your dice as part of that 3 total.
I
So
got
like you can roll 6 of them at once. If you like 4 of those, you can pick up the other 2 and re-roll those twice. And then the goal is to choose one of the available attacks based on what you rolled
what your number
on your
is.
board. And so that's where the strategy comes in.
And so I'm assuming higher number rolled means a more powerful attack.
Absolutely.
Nailed it.
Yep. Yeah.
That sounds.
You could play this game today.
I like that from the way it sounds. I like it because there's a lot of different possibilities of players.
Yep.
And it sounds dead simple.
Yeah.
But yet still
it's very
fun.
accessible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Accessible is a good word to say that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions about
How
expansion
does
packs?
Adventures work?
How does Adventures work? Dice Throne the Adventures keeps that same premise, except you're now playing in a dungeon crawl.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very Dungeons and Dragon-esque.
Is that a completely different game, or it's just a new way to play the
It's
same
a different game.
Okay.
Yes, it is an actual different whole setup.
So you couldn't take a character from base Dice Thrones and incorporate it into
You
Adventures?
can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
that's part of the magic.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great Wow, that was a great.
Yeah, we're working this.
It's part of the magic of getting the premise of the whole Dice Throne setup is that it's modular.
Yeah.
And so you can pull in different characters from different seasons,
Mm-hmm.
pitch them against the boss, and do the dungeon crawl thing. Although I will say, when Ellen and I played Dice Throne Adventures, we definitely incorporated some house rules.
Which is important to
Yeah.
every game.
Because we got absolutely slaughtered
Really?
on our first time.
So you were doing house rules to kind of help you along.
There
a
were
little bit.
handicaps involved
Yeah.
for sure. Yep.
I like that though.
I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm already
Yeah.
excited about it. Those are
Yeah.
great first
I,
picks.
I think it's cool how like Dice Throne is like the brand, and
Yes.
each thing you purchase for Dice Throne is something you can incorporate.
Yeah, it builds
through.
on itself.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
really
that.
neat.
Is it? I'm trying to picture it in my head here. So you got the dice. You've got the character. I'm assuming it's a little figurine or something, or is it a card?
Like a character card or something.
Yeah,
or-
it's a character board.
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know what that means.
It's just a board that has the character's artwork on it.
Uh,
Their specific abilities. That's one thing I didn't mention. Each character also has their own ability.
So you would
So
look
you
at
can
the
do that.
board and go like, I'm picking this.
That's
thing.
right.
Got it.
Exactly. Yep. Play styles are different depending on the character you choose. It's a neat game.
I like it. I'm excited about it. Dice Throne. All right, Steven, hit us with it.
Trying to think of which one, because I've got two that I'm waiting to see if Ryan picks my third, and if he does, I've got a backup.
Okay.
But I'll go with my personal favorite, Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Okay.
Ryan, are you familiar with Sentinels of the Multiverse?
I am. I have not played it.
Oh, really?
I'm not aware, as you
So-
surprised.
If you ever want to play it, you're talking to the right guy, because I have literally everything for it.
Okay.
I've got the big box. I've got all the expansions. I've got the
Yes.
definitive edition.
Okay.
Huge fan. So basically, Sentinels of the Multiverse is a card game, completely co-op, where it is themed around a fictional. It's kind of hard to explain. Think of if Marvel created a card game where you played as different characters and the cards were different moments that happened in Marvel Comics,
Okay.
but it's a fictional comic company.
Got it.
So
So it has nothing to do with Marvel.
no, it's all original characters.
Got it.
But there's a character, for example, named Legacy, who is basically this universe's Superman. And each character has a deck of cards, and each card, kind of like Magic the Gathering, depicts a moment that happened in the lore of the series, because it has story to it. But everyone plays a character. They can play a heroes up to 5. And you all go up against
to 5.
heroes, players.
You get to have 5 heroes,
No.
or only 5 heroes to play the game?
5 players,
Got
1
it.
hero per player, unless if one of my favorite characters is a team of 4 weaker superheroes that you control as one person.
There you go.
Yeah,
Very neat.
They're really fun.
Okay.
But you all go up against a villain,
So this would be PVE.
PvE, correct? Because
Yeah.
you're doing great.
You're ready.
Because the villain is game controlled, which basically means every time it comes around to the villain's turn, they have on their villain card things that happen every time, and part of that is drawing the top card of the deck, and that kind of determines the big thing that happens on their turn.
Okay.
So, and there's also the environment deck, which determines like where is this fight happening. Like you could fight Omnitron, which is like Brainiac.
Right. So like with the dagger in the library.
Candlestick in the dining room, actually.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Let's not take all my picks, okay?
I'm sorry.
But you could fight Omnitron as the villain,
Okay.
and you could pick like Atlantis as the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever the environment plays, it's kind of a neutral, to where it may play a Kraken that attacks everyone. So you're kind of managing the environment deck while also trying to defeat the villain, and
Great.
the villain is trying to either defeat all of the heroes or meet a condition that is a game wipe. Like the first villain that you're supposed to fight to kind of learn the game is called Baron Blade. He's kind of like Lex Luthor kind of deal.
Gotcha.
He is building a beam that will bring the moon to Earth and destroy it for some reason.
Yeah.
So if his discard pile hits 15, you lose. So you have to like be fast.
Gotcha.
So each villain has kind of a different play style. Some
He
of them
destroys the moon or the Earth or both,
he brings the moon into Earth.
which I assume is bad.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah. It feels like a Despicable Me kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But that's
Lex Luthor and Gru are both bald, so
That is true.
Baron Blade isn't though.
oh, he's got hair.
He's got hair, yeah.
Yikes!
But it's kind of more of a Doctor Doom, I guess, because he's like the.
Have you? So I'm guessing because you're drawing cards off the top deck. Every time you play is probably very different.
So if you're fighting, like for example, if you're going up against Baron Blade, he has a lot of stuff that stalls you from, like he'll have a deflector shield that prevents you from dealing damage to him. You have to destroy the shield first. So you generally know he's going to do a lot of stuff to prevent us from dealing damage. So you know generally what strategies you need to do to defeat him. But the different heroes have all these different play styles. So there's Tachyon is basically the Flash. She is really good at what us gamers would call crowd control, preventing damage from being done on the board, doing a lot of little hits and building up big burst damage, stuff like that. And there are other characters that are more of like controlling the board, like Visionary, I think is what her name is. She can scry the villain deck so you know what's coming next, and she can kind of change that.
So in all practicality, that just means someone would reach over and just look at it?
Yes. And since it's fully co-op, all information can be shared with everybody.
That's great.
Yeah, but there are a ton of characters.
Thanks. Glad to.
There are a ton of characters, and all the playstyles are really interesting. There's even one, and I could talk about this game for a very long time, but there's one that is like a tree spirit that part of her playstyle is that she infects the environment deck with seeds, so she can use the environment deck as her turn.
Interesting.
Kind of, so she can act kind of twice. Very cool.
Yeah, interesting.
And I'm a big fan of, in games like that, just character design and the whole idea of like, let's figure out what team we need to coordinate to win this. I love that, and this is probably the best game I've seen do that.
Sentinels of the Multiverse.
So was this, you may not know the answer to this, was this like one dude's brainchild, or
It's two.
So two dudes or two people just came up with this?
Yes. They actually have a podcast.
One guy with two brains.
It was, as far as I know, it was the two.
Okay.
They have a podcast. They have, I've listened to it. So unless one guy's doing an impression of two people, it's two.
Maybe.
It would be very impressive. But they have a podcast where they tell the story of the game, because the story isn't really incorporated in the game. It's kind of lore in the cards. But one guy did kind of the story and game. Well, they both developed the game, but one guy was more the writer and the other guy was the artist. And they did a definitive edition, which they're releasing now, where they kind of, because the problem with the game was as they released more expansions, the expansion content was like the new heroes and villains were developed without the previous stuff in mind. So you'd have heroes that would absolutely bust villain fights from previous iterations, because those villains weren't created with those heroes in mind.
Right.
Why did they do that?
Just because they just kept adding expansions to the game. So
So they kind of backed themselves into a bit of a corner?
a little bit, yeah. And so that's why they've been doing the definitive edition, which is where they designed all the expansions for this. They basically recreated the game and did like whole new balancing. So it's a better experience, and also the artist used that as an opportunity to kind of flex his art. And a cool thing about the art in the definitive edition is, since the cards are based on moments in time that happen in the publication of this comic company, the art varies from like 60s kind of action comics to like 2000s Rob Liefeld kind of. It's really cool.
Well, I was going to ask you how you would rate the art quality, but it sounds like it'd be pretty high.
The new art is fantastic because it's very intentionally designed to like, there's a lot of different styles incorporated. The old art wasn't great, but he's definitely grown as an artist.
So he kind of grew into it as it got more popular and expanded. He's kind of grown with it. Well, that's all you can ask for.
It's a great game.
Great.
Well, to play.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
So Dice Throne, Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Yep.
My first pick.
Yahtzee.
Don't laugh.
Scrabble.
I'm going to go with the game that I have played more than any other board game ever.
Okay.
And it was really just because it was the game that we had at the house. It was this or Monopoly, and it was not Monopoly. Sorry.
Yes.
You seem like a sorry guy.
Crushed it. I mean, that was a game. Me and the whole family played so much, but me and my brother played it incessantly.
Yeah.
It was in, I don't know if y'all had this same phase, but we had a phase where we hadn't really gotten into video games yet. So it was probably late single-digit age to preteens, and probably around 12-ish is when we got a PlayStation 2, and it really all took off from there.
Yeah.
Right.
But we would destroy each other in Sorry.
Yeah.
Just knocking them off the boards, getting the colors, doing all the things.
Yes.
So that's probably my favorite, just purely off of I've played that game more than any other game ever.
Okay.
And I figure if y'all are going to go into such detail, that's all I got from
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's great.
We all know what Sorry is. It's
Yes.
a classic.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Primary colors. I love it. It's good.
And, and the primary colors don't mess with my color blindness, so it works out great.
That's good.
Actually,
Agree.
red and green.
It was two of the
Yeah.
colors, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Those are.
I didn't think
Okay.
about that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway,
So sorry.
it happens.
Okay.
Numero
Is
dos.
it next?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I subtitled my selection of board games, top board games according to me, and only including the board games I've played.
Okay.
And
That's an important distinction.
It is.
it doesn't include games I haven't played. These are not really in any particular order. I would say Dominion is probably going to be my next pick.
I know that by name, but you'll have to refresh my memory.
I love the fact that we're all picking, besides me, of course, picking games that we don't know about.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Dominion's just it's a card game. It's again very accessible. I can't remember. I think it's created by like a famous like German board game creator guy.
Hasbro.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. A German name just like that. So it's about gaining the most. I think they're called victory points in the game. And you gain those just through regular play. So you start with 7 cards, so many victory points. You shuffle all those cards at the beginning of your turn. You draw a certain amount. You play those cards. It sort of builds on itself, and that you draw from a stack of whatever selection of cards you agreed to before the game started. So there's different sets. Right, so you may have a set that's called, the beginner set. It's going to have these cards in it. There's probably going to be 8 different cards. There'll be so many of those cards available to everyone to draw from. And then there's different like win conditions. So when you run out of one pile of one of those cards, the game ends.
Oh, I got you.
And so your goal is to try to choose a selection of cards that lets you have a lot of buying power. So one of your turns is purchasing. So you purchase with gold, which is the currency in the game, and then you buy victory points at sort of the end game, the late stage of the game.
So is the main purpose to acquire gold to therefore acquire victory points?
Exactly.
Got it.
Yep. That is it. It's very accessible.
Yeah.
I like it.
And so this is all just cards in your hand
It's all card
and
games.
piles.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Artwork
cool.
is great.
I
Primary
love good
colors.
artwork in games. Like,
Yes.
We've talked about Magic a few times. Have you ever looked at Magic the Gathering cards, Logan?
No, I mean I know what it is, but I've never played it enough to actually look at it in detail.
The art for those are incredible. Super good.
Magic, their art universe is its own.
Yeah.
There's not really another one like it.
So growing up, I, like most people my age, got super into Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh for a time.
Okay.
And so I always thought Magic the Gathering was like a weird off-brand where they were just trying to imitate like a Yu-Gi-Oh or something because those were the real things. It wasn't until much later, like it would have been at the earliest high school, where I was like, oh, Magic the Gathering is like, this isn't just some like weird copy. This is its own thing, and
It's the one being copied.
Yes,
it is.
And so for me, that was never my universe. My universe was Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh, that whole deal.
Yeah. I had a brief stint in Magic, but it didn't last long, mostly because I ran out of money.
Yep. That's how it goes.
And it tends to get you there.
The problem with Magic, especially if you play in like local card shops, if they do like a Friday Night Magic kind of thing, and they do what's called Standard.
Which Friday Night Magic's a great name for anything.
It is.
Absolutely.
But Standard is like the standard rules of play. But the problem with it is that as new stuff comes out, other stuff gets rolled out. So your deck has to keep up with what is considered standard legal.
Yes.
So it's
you are just spending money.
So much money.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So if you had, I'm assuming like if you had a card from that you had when you were 10, chances are there's no way you're playing that card.
No, unless and a lot of places will play what's called modern, which I believe modern's like just anything's on the table, right? Yeah. So you can just make a deck.
Are there any like really old OG cards that are just busted?
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's one card.
There's
Black Lotus.
Black Lotus. Yeah.
Post Malone. I think I saw an article that he spent like $10,000 on a Black Lotus card or something like that. Some ridiculous number. But
classic.
It's like a game destroyer.
Yeah, it breaks the game.
Card.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's probably some lady in the middle of some rural town that's got a stack
in Mississippi,
of them.
Right?
And she's like, "What am I doing with all this cardboard garbage?"
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking about Magic. We're talking about Dominion, which is a great game. I wouldn't know, but it sounds fun.
My second pick is going to be a recent one, Monster Hunter World, the board game.
He's been talking about this game so much.
Yes.
So Monster Hunter is a video game series that's been going for a little while, where basically you and up to 3 friends, so teams of 4, hunt down these giant monsters that could be like dragons or like dinosaurs that breathe fire, like very unique creature design. It comes from Japan, and they're really good at that kind of stuff. But the board game, my watch was doing something, but it was really
just like Ryan's did when
it's okay. It's listening.
It was just telling me, "Hey, please start walking. You don't walk enough." But the board game is part choose your own adventure, to where when you start a hunt, you kind of pick between different options while you're looking for the monster, and then when the game really starts, it's a node-based board to where you've got
I don't know what that means.
Like kind of a grid. A node would be like if each square in a grid was a circle.
Got it. Chinese checkers.
If that helps you. But
exactly like
it's
that.
exactly like chess. But you and your team are trying to fight the monster, and think of it as every single fight is a boss battle. That's kind of how Monster Hunter is described. And so you have to work together to defeat this big monster using these different weapons that could be like a bow and arrow, or a really big sword, or a sword shield, or a lance that has a gun on the end of it. Just a lot of really wacky weapons.
A lance with a gun on the end.
It's called a gun lance, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds a lot like unobtainium.
It's way more creative than unobtainium.
No, the idea is way better, but
yes.
I feel like they were the conceptual rendering took so long. They were like gun lance.
Yeah, like gun on end of lance, gun lance.
Yes.
Sorry.
Or hard to obtain, unobtainium.
Yes.
So the game is very challenging, but the flow is interesting because the monster acts first, and you always know generally what the monster is going to do, because on its deck face down you can see a target symbol and a body part. So it could say a red symbol, which means it's going to target the closest player. And then it could be like a tail symbol, so you know the attack is going to come from the back.
Okay.
So you can plan based on what you think is coming. So if the monster acts and you see on its card that it plays that 2 players have enough time to react, you pick your 2 players that are going to react, and if the monster is going to target the furthest away with its next attack, you could say, okay, well, you have the most defense, you go over there, so the monster is going to go towards you, while this other person that doesn't have a lot of health can move in, do some damage, and they'll be safe for the next turn. So there's a lot of team coordination, and it tries to simulate real time through that. Like if a monster does a really, really big attack, it's going to leave players more time to act. So maybe 3 players could act with 3 card plays. But if it's like a weaker attack, maybe only 1 player can act with 2 card plays.
Because it's moving faster.
Correct. And it also uses something called a stamina board, which is very true to the game, where you have 5 slots on your board that are used for playing attacks as well as dodging. But you only, whenever your character acts, you only get to remove 1 from your stamina board each turn. So think of it as your level of exhaustion.
Yeah.
So since that is how you attack and dodge, it's all a game of resource management, because a monster could hit you with a really big attack and you could be like, I need to put 3 cards on my stamina board to dodge this, but that's going to leave it to where I can only attack or defend with 2 cards later on. So you kind of have to make those decisions of what's worth dodging, what's worth taking the hit for, stuff like that.
And I'm assuming stamina board runs out, player's done.
No, it just means that they can't react.
So it's not the same as like an HP board.
No, you do have HP.
Okay.
But the stamina board is basically what you have at your disposal to react with, because you have a 5-card hand, and monster attacks have what's called a dodge level, and each card you have has an agility level. So monster could hit with like a tail sweep that has a dodge level of 3, and I need to play face down from my hand enough cards that equal to the agility value of 3. So I could play one that has a value of 2 and one that has a value of 1, and then I can dodge. But that costs 2 places on my stamina board, so I have less room to dodge later on, or less room to attack on my turn. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So it's very interesting, and there's also, because a big part of the video game is crafting gear from the monsters you defeat, they actually incorporate all of the crafting in the board game as well.
That's awesome.
So it's meant to be played kind of like a campaign.
Yeah. I love that.
It's huge. There's a ton of content to it.
What's a typical game length?
Only an hour.
That's not bad.
For a hunt. If you have to explain it, hour and a half, 2 hours. But
okay. Yeah.
But it's one of those where I would say it's more straightforward than something like Sentinels, because in Sentinels, depending on the characters you get, you could just absolutely bust the flow of a game to where I could be playing a support character that makes it to where someone can act outside of their turn, and suddenly it's just bouncing all over the place. But with Monster Hunter, there's a lot more complexity at the front end, but everything operates by those rules pretty consistently. There's nothing that really has an asterisk to it and it says like,
we're sorry, that turn is not allowed.
Yeah. Stuff like that. So it's one of those that probably more difficult to explain at the front end, but subsequent plays are going to be a lot easier for new people.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. We're definitely going to play it.
I'm shocked that I followed that.
Yeah.
Because it if you weren't paying attention or you were halfway listening, it probably sounds super confusing. But I mean, it is fairly straightforward.
Yeah. And if you saw the pieces and everything, you would probably be like, this is so much.
I feel like the only thing you'd really have to, the thing that only really sounds you have to get used to is the stamina board. And
the stamina board is the big gameplay element that once you get that and you've watched a few turns, you're like, oh, I completely understand what's going on.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My pick, number 2, the one of the first board games that I ever remember playing. I love how this is turning out with y'all's in mind. Mousetrap.
Okay.
Did you ever get to work?
Yes, great.
Always.
Really?
Mm-hmm. We straight engineered that thing.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
It was a fun time. We enjoyed it. I think I only played it like twice before like my dad got tired of building everything.
Yeah.
And I got tired of breaking everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's my number 2 pick, Mousetrap.
That's a good one.
No further questions.
No further questions.
Yeah.
No.
Pick 3, final pick, Mr.
Oh,
Wallace.
final pick?
I think we're doing just 3, aren't we?
Yeah, we're at an hour right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this will be the last pick.
So this is going to be...
If you want to do an honorable mention after you make your third
Sure.
pick, we can do that.
Okay, we'll do that. All right. I'm going to say probably, mostly because I've been playing this a lot recently, Parks.
Okay.
So it's
You ever played it?
Never heard of it.
it's a board game, not a video game, because we're talking about board games. But
I also keep wanting to say video game.
that's okay.
Yeah.
You hike through the national parks of the United States. You collect memories, experiences, really. Sort of the goal is to go through different seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the start of the season, you shuffle sort of your path cards, and you place them down in the order that they tell you. There are some resources that you can gather along the way to sort of purchase the parks that are available, or you can use those resources to get things like a camera where you can take photos, and those count as certain points at the end of the game, along with the parks.
Where do you start? Just wherever you have access to the first park.
Yeah, it's not really based on the park, and the parks are very random. Like you just shuffle them at the start of every turn or season.
Yeah.
And then you draw them. Sort of the way it works is you start on your path at the beginning of that season. You have 2 meeple, I guess you could say, but it's just little figurines that you're moving across the path, collecting your resources, and the goal is to get to the end the path where you purchase one of the parks. At the start of the game, you actually are given a sort of an objective card. So it's very like Ticket to Ride almost. If you've ever played that, where you have goals that you're trying to get, this many or from here to there, right? It's very similar in that you have so many parks that you're trying to get that are like water-based parks or whatever. So there's very elemental thing. It's a beautiful. It looks gorgeous.
It's a very interesting concept for a board game. I've never heard anything like that.
It's really unique, and we love hiking and camping and going to the national parks, and so it was a very.
Do you lose in the game, or do you just not reach your final goal?
So it is PvP in the sense that you're playing against someone to reach, to get. I'm trying to remember the points-based system, but it's.
To have like a better experience almost?
I guess so, yeah. To get, to meet your objective, first of all. So your objective card, which you're sort of keeping secret from the other player. But then past that, each park has a certain point attachment to it. So some parks are more expensive and have bigger points awarded. So, yeah.
That is a very interesting concept game.
It's very fun. It's pretty quick, too.
Mm-hmm. Hit us with our. Wait, did you want to do any honorable mentions?
Ooh.
There's one that I'm waiting for you to mention.
Okay.
Because I'm surprised you haven't, because I know it's one you've probably played, just being a co-op board game person.
Probably.
So what are your honorable mentions? And I'll mention it as my honorable mention.
It's not on this list, but I'm going to say Pandemic.
That's the one. That is exactly the one.
Pandemic is just, if you haven't experienced it, in other words, if you were born after 2020, you should definitely play. It is just it's an experience unlike any other.
Yeah.
Is it board, card?
It is a
dice?
Pandemic's a board game.
Okay.
And you start with a selection of characters.
It could be like each character has an ability. Like my favorite character is the Dispatcher.
Yes.
Is this going to be your third pick? Or were you
This was my one if he didn't mention it.
Okay.
I do have a third one.
Got it.
But I just it's one that like when you look up any like top 10 co-op board game list, Pandemic's on there.
For sure.
It's just so accessible, and it's a lot of fun.
It's heavily co-op too,
Yes.
and the sense that you're fighting against the diseases, right? For eradication is the goal.
Yeah, you're trying to eradicate diseases and prevent outbreaks at different locations, and it's the kind of game that no single turn happens without like a town hall meeting.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
everyone's like, okay,
yes,
what do we need to do, and what does your character do to work towards that? And that's why I like the Dispatcher character, because his thing is that he can move other people on his turn.
Yes.
So I'm very much a collaborative person where I'm like, all right, who am I moving? What's our overall goal? And it's a lot of fun. It's very good.
It is a fun game.
Very cool. All right, third pick.
So this is one that I've only played like twice, but I want to play more of it, and I guess I'm just looking for an excuse to talk about it. Aeon's End, both the standard version and Legacy.
I've heard of it.
Have you heard of it?
Mm-hmm.
The concept is that you and up to 3 friends, so 4 players, are mages defending this city from giant monsters that are trying to destroy it. It is it's a deck builder game.
Okay.
Which I'm normally not super fond of deck builders.
Explain that to me.
Basically, as you play the game, you collect resources and you build your deck of cards from a pool of cards that everyone has access to. So in a co-op deck builder, for example, I could say, hey, I'm going to focus my resources on buying cards that heal the team. So I'm going to do that. Someone else needs to focus on being a damage dealer. So as a group, you're deciding what do we need and building decks to fill the roles that you want to fill.
So you're not exactly trying to build like the quote best deck. You're trying to build the most helpful deck to help you accomplish the mission.
Normally a deck builder would be PvP, I feel like.
Yes.
But in a co-op deck builder, it's more about fulfilling the role that the team needs. And sometimes that can look like I can't remember the rules because it's like I said, I've only played like once or twice. But there may be something that determines, like maybe the character you pick is better for a certain role. So you're like, okay, I'm going to target this for this game, or maybe there's a variable that happened where you happen to get the resources you need to buy a really, really powerful damage card. So then you're suddenly like, okay, because I was able to do that, I'm the damage guy for this game, basically. So it's very dynamic to work.
You've used that as an example a lot. I feel like you really want to be the damage dealer.
I'm actually
He's the damage guy.
I'm the support.
He's support.
In nearly
He's a healer main.
In nearly everything I play, I'm the healer main. I'm the one.
Healer mains unite.
You healer main?
Absolutely.
No, I liked you.
Yep.
If you had to pick whatever class for me, what would you pick?
Absolutely a damage dealer.
Yeah.
Either
Barbarian
that,
every time.
or a tank.
Yeah, barbarian.
Yeah.
Doesn't the tank just like take all the damage?
Yeah, but think of it
kills.
as they love to have all the attention on them. That's literally what the tank does.
I feel like that was slightly insulting, but I'll accept it.
I
You
think
can't
it was
tell me
a
I'm wrong.
compliment.
Yeah.
I can't tell you it's wrong.
Yeah.
But there's also a version of Aeon's End that I own that I haven't even opened.
Okay.
And this is a good opportunity for me to mention this real quickly, as I'm sure you're familiar with legacy games.
Mm-hmm.
Legacy games are meant to be played once as a campaign. So you're like tearing up cards and like writing stuff down to where like something could happen in the campaign that is irreversible, and next time you play, the consequences of that carry over.
Mm-hmm.
So that you're allowed to play it again. It just your game is altered based on when you played it.
It depends on the game, but legacy games are typically meant to be played as a campaign, to where there is a point A to B, and once you've completed the campaign, I guess depending on the game, you can't really play it again. But in the case of Aeon's End, the whole point is you create a character and you develop them over time. You like give them new abilities, and those characters can be carried over into base Aeon's End. So you're kind of creating your own mage that you can use in the main game.
That's cool.
I really like that.
Is there a legacy game that you would buy two of them so that you would play it twice? Like is there a game that you specifically?
Me specifically, I've never played a legacy game.
Oh.
I've always wanted to. I just can't get
Not sure I have. Yeah.
So Aeon's End is my first one, and I've been waiting to play it. I've opened it and kind of looked at it, but it's one of those that like once you start, you kind of need to make sure that you're going to finish it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So Pandemic has a legacy version, a few different versions, and I've heard that it's a very good experience. My brother's a huge board game person, and he's recommended it a few times.
That's good.
Yeah. You're trying to figure out which brother, aren't you?
Yeah, but I didn't want to ask. But no, I was really thinking of what was my third pick going to be, because I have no idea what it's going to be. Did you have any honorable mentions that you wanted to do?
Pandemic was my main honorable mention.
I'm glad I could steal that from you.
I wanted you to, because if you didn't, then I was not going to talk about Aeon's End.
Right.
And that's one that I just think is really cool. I don't think I've got any others. I'll probably think of one later, but it's whatever. Do you need me to?
No, my third pick.
Do we have any elevator music you can play right now? Okay.
Maybe. My third pick is going to be the game that my son Cash loves more than any other card game on the face of this earth.
Okay.
Go Fish.
Go Fish. That's
Finishing with a classic. Okay.
Yeah.
I used to love Go Fish.
I hate it so much now because I've played it with.
Have you played it before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I played it with a 3-year-old. Cash is now 5, so we've had 2 straight years of playing Go Fish.
Yeah.
My honorable mentions are Old Maid, because when Cash plays Old Maid, he loves to have the Old Maid, which therefore makes him the loser, but he sees it as a win. So
got it.
That's a good one. And my other honorable mention is Dominoes.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know if that would be. It's not a card or a board.
It counts.
But
it's a game piece centered tabletop.
That's probably extended family, both in-laws and my parents and my immediate family. That's the game that we all like to play the most.
Yeah.
I don't think I have ever actually played a true game of dominoes.
I never
Most
have.
of them involved me standing them up and then pushing the pieces down.
Yep.
So it's it's one of those things where there's actually an actual way to play dominoes, but every family just has like house rules.
Yeah.
Are you going to bring this up again?
Yes.
Are we going there?
Yes.
Okay.
So I learned my family plays a version of dominoes called chicken foot, which just is the dominoes. The point of dominoes is you match numbered or colored ends depending on what you're playing, and it can branch out across the table. therefore looking like a chicken foot.
Okay.
So there's a version of that called chicken foot. But then I learned how to play standard dominoes in Jamaica on a mission trip. And so I've been twice. Both times I've played with senior adult Jamaican men, and that was how I learned how to play.
He's played with the masters. He learned overseas from.
Yes.
Got it.
I traveled many moons.
Yeah.
Really just like a couple hours.
Yeah.
Well, a couple hours being moon time.
Like half a moon.
Maybe half a moon. So I learned it, and then when I was dating we were married because we were at the beach. We were at the beach, and her family said, hey, we want to play dominoes. And I was like, great, I'll destroy all of you, hence competitiveness.
Right.
Because I know they're also competitive. And so we get into it. But what I didn't realize is that there's 1,000 different ways to play dominoes based on what family you're born into.
Got it.
And so they have all these different rules about how you start, how you play certain things, like what connects and what doesn't connect. And like it literally got to the point where they were all 5 rounds in, like 5 turns in. I was unable to start because I couldn't figure out, because there's stupid rules, how to start a domino.
Wow.
And I got so mad that I was yelling at my wife and her mother, calling them dirty cheaters.
Right.
And I had to step away from the board or
That's
from the
always
table.
Yeah.
And so
It is kind of nice, though, that you're comfortable enough with your in-laws that you can call them scum.
Yeah.
I didn't say scum.
Yeah.
I said dirty, rotten cheaters.
Well, yeah.
But it was a good time. That was the first time that they realized, oh, Logan is actually a little competitive when he wants to be.
Yeah.
And also that they don't know how to play dominoes.
I'm sure that's what.
Yeah, when we play their rules.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it goes. Anyway, I like dominoes.
Okay.
All right. How much time?
We are currently at about 1 hour 10 minutes.
We've been smoking. If it was a minute.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. I don't have a time limit. I just want to know what the time was.
Okay.
We can be here forever.
Yeah.
Maybe, hopefully not forever.
We can make this a 2-parter if we need to.
So
Great. So about that interview.
that's right.
All right.
So I have this game. We paid for it. It's not sponsored or anything. That'd be super cool. It's by a guy named Anthony Russo. It's called the Bible is Funny card game. And so I thought since we're doing a board game inspired episode, we actually could play just a couple rounds of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you've ever played Apples to Apples, it's an Apples to Apples style game where there is a prompt and then we will have a hand of cards. Thank you. It's called a card game.
Yeah.
Where one of us will say the prompt and we have to pick the best response. And then what's called the theologian will choose which is the best response based on the prompt. So
Okay. Great.
And the theologian's the person that reads the prompt, right?
So I was going to read a little bit of the rule book because I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
First rule is deal 7 cards to each player. Second rule, cast lots to decide who will serve as the game's first theologian. In the event that lots are not readily available, see the back of this booklet for substitutionary methods. There's some other ones, all the stuff I just talked about. The player whose card is chosen is awarded 1 point, 1 treasure in heaven. All players who submitted a card draw a new verse card to ensure they always have a sacred 7 in their hand. All played cards are discarded into a weeping and gnashing of teeth pile after each round.
That's my favorite part, is
Yes,
the weeping and gnashing of teeth
yeah.
pile.
The person seated at the right hand of the theologian becomes the next theologian. Play continues until
I
a
love
player
that they're
gets
seated at the right hand.
play continues until a player gets 7 treasures in heaven, or 70 times 7, depending on how much time you have.
Got it.
So, since we're not going to cast lots for obvious reasons, the main one is I don't know how.
It's not real obvious.
Yeah.
But okay.
There's 7 different options for picking who goes first as a theologian. Stephen, I'm going to let you give me a random number 1 through 7, and it'll help us decide who's the first
5.
one. Methuselah rules. The oldest person goes first.
That's going to be me. I'm
It's gotta
pretty
be.
sure.
Am I older than you? I am.
A little bit, I think. How old are you?
Would you rather tell me your birth year or how old you are?
94.
93.
That's what I thought.
You're 94 years old?
I am.
Wow.
He crushed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, option 1, Zacchaeus rules. The shortest person goes first. 2, Noah rules. The person with the most pets goes first. 3, Sarah rules. The person with the best laugh goes first.
Okay.
That could have been fun.
That would have been
I
great.
didn't even read these first. Moses ruled. The first person to take off their shoes goes first. David rules. The best dancer 6 was Methuselah. 7, Elisha rules. The baldest person goes first.
Yeah,
Man.
David could have gone multiple ways.
This is hilarious.
And I was
Yeah,
going to go
for sure.
7 too.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. So that would make you the first theologian. So
Okay.
there's yours.
This is my pile
I
of
assume these
theologian
they don't even need to
cards.
be shuffled because they're not cards. They're not like numbers or anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stephen. And so I guess since there's only 3 of us, this will really be like a sudden death.
So I just sort of read the prompt.
I think you get each card has 2 prompts.
Yes.
I don't know if one's like easier or harder. I think they're just 2. So I think
Okay.
you would draw a card or just do the one off the top,
Okay.
and then pick which of those 2 you would rather
Do. Okay. Got it.
And then Stephen, after each round, I'll just give you a new card off the top
Excellent.
to replenish
Okay.
your
Excellent.
Sacred 7.
Appreciate it.
All right. The card has been drawn. Ready?
Yes.
I'm ready.
I hope you don't mind me saying.
Okay, I have to read all these.
Now, the theologian chooses the answer.
So yeah,
Is
like
that
I'm going to
correct?
give you my choice. Stephen's going to give you his choice. Can you
Okay.
read the prompt again?
Absolutely. I hope you don't mind me saying.
And then I guess you will just read both of these out loud and then pick your favorite.
I have to keep
And
it in
we
this
didn't mention
hand so I
that
know.
all the answers are Bible verses.
Yes.
They're very much
Yeah.
out of context.
They're
which
all
makes them great.
biblical.
Yes. So they'll say like one of mine is in Proverbs. So it's literally a proverb.
All right. So again, for the listener, the prompt was, I hope you don't mind me saying. I am on the verge of complete ruin before the entire community.
That's good.
I lie awake. I am like a lonely sparrow on the housetop. I'm going to have to say the complete ruin.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was
That's,
just...
that's,
So
That
I
was-
guess
all right,
I'll
so
let this be my.
You
point
hold
card.
that, and
Okay.
do we discard this at
Yeah,
this
you'll
point?
discard that
Okay.
one. You'll hand that to Stephen.
Steven,
I'll take this one.
I'm going
And
to just
then
flip this bad boy and
I-
go on to the next. Can we do that? Is that in the rules? There's 2 prompts on here.
Yeah, let's just do the second prompt.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
we'll let you do a prompt, and then we'll probably get out of
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Something I would say while on vacation.
I'm stuck between
It's
2.
down to 2.
that's what I am.
All right, I'll go with this one.
Okay. Something I would say while on vacation. I am tired of living among people who hate peace.
You got a good hand.
I was happy with that one.
Meaningless, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless.
I feel like those
Definitely that
I
one.
feel like
Really?
those are the same vein.
Absolutely.
That was good.
Yes.
All right.
Especially knowing that I'm going to have to come back from vacation. That would be my
So I
response.
drew a card, Stephen, just for you to have one, and then Stephen, will be the new theologian.
Oh,
So there's
this-
So now me and Ryan are going.
So does Ryan
Okay.
take my hand?
No, he has his
Okay.
own. Did I give you 7?
How many? No, I need
7.
70 times 7.
Yes.
Okay, got
We'll
it.
be here for 3 hours. While he's doing that, we'll give him time to draw 7 and then actually read his, because
Yeah.
that'll be helpful.
Okay.
I think this is pretty
He's
fun.
good.
I think they did a good job of picking the verses that are very. Well, I guess I keep saying out of context. I mean, they are, but
Mhm.
they're not wrong.
This is a really good prompt.
That's true.
Are you there's 2 prompts.
Yeah.
One is like the gold and one's the black. Are you the gold or the black?
They're 2 sides of the same coin. I'm going with the black one.
Okay. Great.
I'm ready.
If you would prefer, I can read both because it's basically here. It's either something my therapist wants to say to me or something I want to say to my therapist.
Okay. Pick one that you want to do first.
I
and
think
we'll-
something
we'll-
my therapist wants to say to me.
Okay.
Oh, I have 2 that could be
Yeah.
fantastic. I have 3 that could be fantastic.
Something that your therapist wants to say to you.
Correct.
Is the first one that we're going with.
Ryan, will you hand off that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Something my therapist wants to say to me. Crafty fellow that I am, I caught you by trickery. Whoever hates correction is stupid. That's good.
Those are good.
I think that one.
Oh, really?
Logan.
I thought
Yeah.
Ryan had me on that one.
Crafty fellow. Caught you
That
by
was good.
trickery.
That was a good
Do you want to do the other side?
Yeah,
or?
do the other side.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that is something I would say to my therapist.
Okay. Oh boy, this is a tough one. I've got several.
I'm just using the other one that I would
several
have picked for the
potential
therapist.
winners.
I'm surprised that
Alright, here's Logan's.
multiple of these work with most of the prompts.
I put in one from my hand just because
Okay.
I saw it and was
Yours
like,
will be an honorable mention.
it's an honorable mention. This is fun. I like this.
All right.
Okay. This is something I would say to my therapist, right?
Yes.
Okay. Something
Well,
I would
don't
say
know.
to my
You're the
therapist.
one. You're the theologian.
I mean, you're the one that put the card in.
Yeah.
yes.
True story.
You should mind your own business.
What's the reference for that?
1 Thessalonians 4:11.
That's hilarious.
Listen to me. Everything I say is right. Those are both really good.
We both went reality with that one.
You should mind your own business. I think.
Yeah.
That was good.
Mine that I put was, there is much more we would like to say about this, but it is difficult to explain, especially since you don't seem to listen.
That's a Pauline quote right there for sure. 100%.
I got to draw 2 cards. I forgot to draw one.
Oh yeah.
That last round.
So it's your turn to be the
Oh yeah, I guess it doesn't matter because I'm drawing.
Yeah.
Okay. My prompt card.
I need
You
one
need
card.
one?
Yep.
Oh.
These 2 are going to be great.
Excellent.
I'm saving the trump card for my last one.
Okay.
Did we drop? Oh, there's one.
We did drop one.
Something an annoying coworker would say. And Steven has to say which coworker he's thinking of when he does it. Not really.
Something that an annoying coworker would say.
Something an annoying coworker would say. Ryan had it. Something an annoying coworker would say. Please put up with me.
That's not fair.
I am more stupid than any other person. I gotta go with the please put
You
up
got
with
it.
me.
just
You have
couldn't-
to.
I couldn't
That's
help
too
it.
good.
That was like the dead giveaway there.
That was great. All right.
I need one more.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Take one as well.
This one, we're gonna risk it for the biscuit with this one. This will be our
Yeah,
last
I'm
one,
sorry.
and then we'll close out. But this one, it could go off the rails, or it
Okay.
could be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something you might hear on my honeymoon. Something you might hear on my honeymoon. It's a good thing that no one's wife is going to be watching. or
Yeah,
listening
absolutely.
To this.
We're not associated at all.
I drew the perfect one for the annoying coworker.
Just now.
Just,
Afterwards.
yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Okay. I'm not actually shuffling. I'm just moving it. Something you might hear on my honeymoon. I love them, but they try to destroy me. Or, when we are clothed, we will not be found naked.
That's good.
I don't know. I don't know what to do with these
those
two.
those are two good ones for sure.
I'm going with I love them, but they try to destroy me.
That's stupid.
I did it.
Nice.
I won one.
You did.
You have one. You have 2. I think you won 2 because you beat me with one and you beat Steven
That's
with
true.
one.
I guess so. Yeah.
Ryan's the winner.
It's time.
Or no.
The loser.
No, because I only won one. Yeah, Ryan wins.
Yeah.
Look at
Yay.
that. The guest always wins.
Of course.
What is the winner called in the rules of the game?
Ooh, I don't know.
That's great.
Does it say?
The chosen one.
I don't think it says.
Oh no! What a missed opportunity,
missed
Anthony.
opportunity.
It was.
I'm not saying it's not in here.
Ryan does have the most treasures, though, stored.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yep.
This is
That's what they do in sports.
Just
ball,
the
right?
rules.
Right, yeah.
Just the rules are worth reading.
They are.
This is. Y'all
I
need
love
like,
how small and accessible it is.
Yeah.
That's great.
when I you can put this in a backpack or anything. It's great.
I feel like this game is especially great for people who have a lot of knowledge about the Bible, but then I could see it also being funny for like someone who's just like,
Yeah.
you know.
I am more stupid than any other person. Let's just pick out. We'll close out with this. Stephen, be thinking of a last word that you'll do.
Okay.
I'm just going to read just a random one out the middle of the deck. Not reading that one.
That goes in the gnashing pile right there.
Blessed. Well, it was one that just taken out of context could be taken really out of context. So I just decided not to for the
Okay.
sake of teenagers that listen to this who would take it out of context.
Okay.
Blessed is the mother who gave you birth and nursed you. Luke 11. That was good.
It's a good one.
Any final words or things you want to ask or tell Ryan?
Wine makes life merry, and money is the answer for everything.
I know what I'm doing when I leave this podcast now. Thank you.
Giving us all kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
That'll be good. All right. Well, that's our show. I can't think of anything else that we'll say. It's been a good time. Ryan, any last things that you want to say? Anything you want to push or talk about? Give a shout out to like our pastor or something. I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah. So shout out to our pastor.